Tan 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 tan, 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 tan 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 tan. Our guest today, the famous doctor, prolific businessman, father, husband. What else am I forgetting? A doctor. Did I mention that already?
Partially you did.
Okay.
Though you never.
Anything else I'm forgetting when it comes to the responsibilities you have in your life?
You can
say
talk about
father?
Author,
Yes.
yes. Okay. I think you've
Covered most of the bases.
Muzukanji's
Great.
friend.
Muzukanji's friend.
That's a title.
Who else? Gob, you mentioned he's also a friend to someone else. Royalty. Apparently she's a makeup artist or something.
Who's royalty?
I also don't know, but Gob knows her.
Bob, how do you know makeup artists?
And Gob, if you just kindly ask them to turn down the volume a bit. Tell them it's just for a few minutes, eh? Even just through the window there, that'll be fine. Dr. Rozious, before we go any further, just would like to thank our sponsors. People who make this podcast possible. One of them being, and this guy specifically told us to give you 2 books. We give out a book on almost every other episode, and you can pick 2 books from here. The shop is called Midas. It's on Alikinkata Road, somewhere near the mall. You see the billboard, Midas on Alikinkata Road. It's not Kalingalingam. What is it called? Kamloops Mall. Yes.
Yeah, I know the place.
Yes, Midas. So he sells
yeah.
books, he sells home furniture, and you can pick 2 books from there.
Okay.
He's in the patrons group, right?
He's in the patrons group as well.
What's his name again? In the patrons group, Midas, right?
I know him as Midas.
Does he sell furniture?
Yeah, there's home. You should check out the stuff he has.
Okay,
Beautiful stuff. What have you picked there?
So I've picked one on how to avoid a climate disaster.
Oh, by Bill Gates.
By Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really want to understand what is in this one. And also by Tina Selig, a crash course on creativity. Yeah.
Looks interesting as well.
Yeah.
Still thanking our sponsors. I remember Big Shack and 2 + 2 = 4 - 1. That's 3. Quick math. Simpler math, though, is you don't pay to watch this podcast.
No.
So the best you can do is use the products and services that we advertise here so that our sponsors are able to pay us because you're not paying us. One of them being Unka-Go. You need a taxi service, taxi hailing company in Zambia that's going to guarantee you that you arrived where you're going because
Not
the
only
cars
that.
are comfortable.
No, I was about to say that.
Because the cars are comfortable, they are serviced, insured, and there's also water in their cars. What else am I forgetting about Unka?
a lot.
Okay.
I'm going to be a little slow today, so bear with me. I just drew a blank there. So it was a long night.
Also, when you're downloading the Unka-Go app, remember when you get to the part where you make a reference, like you reference who you heard about Unka-Go from, mention that Z podcast. And also when you start using Unka-Go, you get a 30% discount when you mention us. Promo code TZP30.
Oh, let me
so
tell
use
you.
that promo code TZP30 and get a 30% discount when you
just
book.
came
Have you
to
ever
me.
booked an Unka-Go taxi before? I know you've got cars, but
Yeah. No, I've never.
never?
Oh, yeah,
But
it
I'm yet to.
No, you need to.
Yeah,
You need to.
I'll
It just came to me. You know, one of the most annoying things is, like when you get a taxi hailing app and say, dude, pay attention. I know
That camera hasn't been on the whole time? Oh, right, okay.
and your fare comes to like 100 kwacha.
Right.
And you give this, or actually say your fare comes to 90 kwacha and you give this guy 100 kwacha. What's one thing that always happens?
Change issues.
They never have change.
Yeah.
These taxi
They never have
companies, they
change.
never have change.
I suspect they have it, but
just
they're
don't-
hoping you say keep it.
It's just 10 kwacha, keep it.
In this economy, in this year economy, you're telling me keep.
That's lots of money.
It's a lot of money, yeah.
But now, you know what's smart though with Unka is you are able to top up. So they've got a wallet. So when you book your ride,
Yeah.
it will ask you how you're going to pay for your ride. Are you going to use the wallet or are you going to use cash?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you say wallet, for example, if you go to the wallet, there's a way that you're able to top up money into your wallet. So if you want to say put 200 kwacha into your wallet, it will say, where's the money coming from? Right? Is it mobile money?
So does it mean you open an account with them?
No,
The
when you
wallet,
download,
or
just
you
kinda like
when you download. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'll show you now. So
Yeah.
when you download the app
Yeah.
and you go to book for a vehicle, it'll give you two options.
Okay.
Of how you're gonna pay. So are you
Okay.
gonna use cash or are you gonna use a wallet? So check this out. So I am gonna say I am gonna go to Monday Hill. All right.
That's too
Monday Hill
close.
right there.
Give a longer distance
don't worry
example.
about it. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so the fare is 27 kwacha in it.
Okay.
So I hit that, and when I go to request, it gives me two options.
Is
Wallet and cash.
Okay.
So if I say wallet and I hit the wallet, it'll say you've got insufficient balance because
Okay.
the ride is 27 kwacha and I only had 2 kwacha in my wallet. It'll ask you, do you want to top up? So when you say yes, I want to top up,
Okay.
it'll then say how much do you want to put into your wallet. That's 23 kwacha to Monday Hill, or do you want to top up with more? So if you want to top up with 100 kwacha, for example, and if you say mobile money, it'll ask you for your phone number.
It's so smart.
You put in the phone number,
smart, yeah.
and then it pulls the money
The money from
your
Okay.
mobile money wallet into the Unka app. And now
Yeah, that's so smart,
You
yeah.
now just basically deplete the money that you have put into your wallet.
So no more
issues of change.
Yeah,
In this year economy.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like extremely smart.
It's mind blowing actually. It's really smart. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot these guys are doing.
Dr. Rozious.
They're also working with this is the last point. They're also working with security companies.
Yeah.
Did you hear of the of this guy who got killed in Kalikiliki? Bruh. So you heard about it? Yeah, God knows these things.
God knows everything that's happening in Lusaka, man.
So these 3 people get a cab, the red one, for danger. I don't know why people like red.
Moving on.
When your peers will stop talking shit about you. So it was Kalingalinga, right? But they were going to Kalikiliki.
The Chalara, was it the Chalara one? I heard about one was killed in Chalara. Was it Chalara what? Which one? There are 2. Oh.
What? There's another Chalala
Yeah,
one.
there's another Chalara one.
So apparently when these guys were approaching Kalikiliki, some dudes with pangas and machetes just rocked up from the woodworks and attacked the driver and killed the dude.
That's sad, man.
But now with Unka,
Yeah.
they are working with a security company where if you are in danger, you can get rapid response to your location.
Is that button like on the app as well?
Fast. Yeah, man.
Nice one, man.
Imagine that.
Every reason why you should book an Unka taxi today. Dr. Rozious, that guy goes by the name Elson. Yes, that is it.
Actually, no, that's not my name. Say my name.
I just pressed the button which says your full name, so worry
No,
not.
I want you to tell the good doctor.
Please introduce yourself.
Uncle Elson.
Uncle Elson.
Yes.
Good to see you.
I don't know why this man disrespects me like this.
I'm Kalenga. I also go by the name K+.
I never
K
called myself
plus,
Kalenga.
baby.
I just did. Dr. Is it Rozious? Rozious? How do you pronounce the name?
Rozious?
Rozious.
Yeah.
It's the first time that I've ever heard of Rozious.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Who named you and why that name?
Parents, of course. But
Like-
on the part of the meaning, I've tried to research, and I can't really get to the meaning of the name.
And your parents didn't
But
tell
I
you as
guess
well?
it were in those days when parents were picking anything interesting around, and they just name you. You know, in those days it was very common.
It was.
Yeah, so whatever they come across, if Boma is what is ringing on your mind, then they give you that name.
Can I give you a theory of why I think why I think your parents named you that?
Yeah.
Where did you grow up? Or where were you born? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the village in Choma.
Exactly why I asked you that.
Yeah.
Do you know what you normally typically find in the villages? Witches. Now here's the thing.
Yeah.
Just bear with me for a second. Right? When someone wants to bewitch you,
Yeah.
they have to say your name.
Uh-huh.
You know this, right?
Okay.
Now, if your name is Rozious,
Yeah.
and the witch can't pronounce your name, guess who's not being bewitched?
Bewitched.
You.
Oh.
Smart. So when you're in the villages, give your kids complicated names to pronounce so that witches can pronounce your name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get you. I'm yet to research more on that.
Speaking of, I'd like to
Yeah.
hear
No,
more.
so next time when somebody asks you, just give them that explanation.
I would
I
definitely
think it's a more profound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dr. Rozious, I think I'm more interested now considering the life we see about you today. You are an accomplished man. you've achieved so much in your life. And you mentioned you grew up in Choma. I'd like to hear more about your upbringing in Choma.
It was actually in the villages, in the village areas of Choma, Batoka. If you're familiar with Batoka area, that's where I grew up from. Sichibule village, that's where I was. And with my grades 1 up to grade 6, I was at Siachidinta Primary School that time. But I'm only able to pick up my story from the time I was taken by my parents to go and live with my grandmother and my grandfather in the village when I was year 3. And I stayed with my grandmother and my grandfather for up to the time when I was in my 6th grade. And
why did you move to your grandparents?
Well, I tried to find out several times. I tried to ask them why at that tender age, because I don't think I'd committed any crime. I don't think I was troublesome at that age. Yeah, but later on through my grandmother, I discovered that time it was a common, trend that each time those who were in the city had maybe a firstborn child. That firstborn child, they needed to take them to the village to go and grow up with their grandparents. But I haven't really, I'm still researching on that. Yeah. So, and then I was there for years. Tough life, of course, in the village. I can't say it was easy because every day was work. You are in the bush, you are collecting firewood, you are drawing water, and you are in the gardens, you are at school, which was about 10 Ks every day. I have to go to school 10 kilometers every day from school. And you're not putting on any shoes until the time when I was in my 7th grade when I came to Lusaka. So in a nutshell, that's how I grew up in the village. And then not until when I was in my 6th grade, term 3, that's when my parents made a decision that I cross over, I come to Lusaka to join the rest. And that's how I started my life here, though it wasn't easy because now what came on board was the issue of cultural, language barrier. I'm taken into, a classroom setup. And that time that was at Chimwemwe Primary School in Chawama. And, in the village, we are taught in local language. And now I find a classroom setup where they are taught in Nyanja, in, English. And that barrier in itself, it affected me a lot. And at some point, I'd lost self-esteem because I couldn't answer some questions in class. And each time I wanted to answer, the he come out and eventually the Tonga thing. And my friends would burst into, laughter. And because of that, I was a loner, so much of a loner. And that year, I write my grade 7 exam. I didn't make it. I failed. I normally say I failed with flying colors. And that's how I repeated.
How bad was it?
It was so bad. I got about 512 my first attempt. That's not grade 9, but grade 7, yeah.
Yeah,
I think I was among the least. I was among the least. And it didn't settle so well with everyone, not even my parents. Because at that time I was told to say, no, you're better off in the village. We're going to take you back to the village. And I think it ate me a lot. And because when they tried to look for some spaces in other schools, secondary, I was told to say, no, we can't accept you here.
It's too dumb.
It's too, until that's when I was made to repeat. And it was so painful. But afterwards, I picked up. And when I just taught myself to say, if those who had made it to grade 8 are human beings like me, I will never fail. And I was at Arakan from my 8th grade up to 12th grade. And from there, I was accepted at the University of Zambia. And after University of Zambia, I jumped straight into business.
What were you studying at the university?
I studied education, Bachelor of Arts with education. And my major was geography and minor was history. Yeah.
I love history.
History had a distinction in history.
Yeah. History is one of those things that I didn't do it because I had to. I did it because I liked to know more about history. Mm-hmm. So it's just something that came naturally.
History and geography.
Yeah.
And then I'm told you became a teacher after that.
I was trained as a teacher. But you have this teacher who has a business background because I started running businesses at a tender age. When I was in my 9th grade, I started from a little garden, and that little garden, because of, when I was accepted at Arakan, we were in Chawama. So I used to walk from Chawama to Arakan every day. So until one day, when I started, thinking about the distance and when you go to school, and then on an empty tummy up to the time you're knocking off, not because my parents didn't want to sponsor me or to pay transport, but they were unable that time. And that made me now start business at a tender age with a background of, the village setup, because we had gardens, we had masuku, we could go and sell, we had mangoes and so on. So I started a little garden in the backyard, and from that garden, neighbors started coming buying vegetables, and from the little money that I started raising now, that's when I started now buying cooking oil in 5 liters, paraffin that time was KSC, sugar, and that's how I started prepacking these into small packages. And I would be in school from morning up to 4 o'clock, and then evening I'm selling, and that's how my business journey started. And in between grade 9 and grade 12, I did quite a number of businesses, and one of the most prominent one was the Salaula business. I used to be on the streets over the weekend and the holidays. Soweto Market was my playground there, and also on the streets. So I was a street cowboy. So I would be selling Salaula and whatever I came across within the city. And I did quite a number of businesses at some point, even started selling past papers, supplying schools.
You were one of them.
Yeah, very much. Because one of our neighbors was working at ECZ, so used to bring bunches of past papers. Then I started, supplying. And it was from then that I started now raising money. And by the time I was in my 11th grade, by then I was able to pay school fees. I was able to tell my parents, don't give me transport because I have enough money. And I remember I even built a 2-roomed house within the yard, and I'd put tenants by that time.
While you were still in high school?
Whilst I was still in high school, yeah. So,
but let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How much of that distracted you from school?
I can't say there was much distraction, because when it comes to performance, I was performing extremely well. If you check on my results at grade 9, I had 484, so meaning there was no effect on, business, and also, and then you go to grade 12, I got about 11 points at grade 12. So meaning there was no distraction. So I was able to balance in between school and business. So,
is it that you were naturally intelligent? Is it that you would still put in as much time to study in the evening as you did in the afternoon to hustle? How did you manage to hit points like that and still hustle the way you did?
I think for me, what really worked out so much was the issue of focus, where I've grown up like that. If I'm into something, I'll put in 100% of my energy, my mind, and everything. So I would tell myself each time I was on the streets, I was running business, to say, forget about school for now. Concentrate on business. And I was in business. So each time I was in school, I would tell my mind, forget about, business, focus on school. So I was that kind of a person. So I'm able to juggle in between, so many things, but I've used this element of focus where I focus on something. I make sure that it's done. Yeah.
In listening, because there's a lot more that we're going to get into, but in listening to you speak about how you did all kinds of different things, there's a school of different thoughts where the one is obviously what you've mentioned, where you're a serial entrepreneur. You do all kinds of things. And the second is where they say, pick one thing, you follow your passion, right? And then money becomes a byproduct of your passion. So regardless of how long it takes, whether the initial setup is going to be 5 years and you're not making money in that, if you're passionate about it and if you keep putting in work, eventually the money is a byproduct of all that. Kind of feels like you're more of the former than the latter. Is that fair to say?
Yes. I'm coming from this school, this thought in that the kind of world that we're going to live in, or the kind of a person you're going to become at a later stage, is something that you need, or maybe can I say who you become is a sum total of what you've been doing from the time you were born up to the time you do what you become. And I'm also a believer of the thought that, maybe can I say, as human beings, we don't become, we grow into something that you want to do what to be. So meaning you need to start living the kind of life that you are going to do what to live in. You need to begin from somewhere, because whatever you do is what is going to become what is part of your belief system, and which belief system now drives your life. So meaning whatever you do from where you're coming from, that is what we exactly know now degenerate into the person that you're going to become at a later stage. So that's why even when it comes to me being an educationist, I've encouraged that thought. Even with our learners now, there are several programs that we've introduced where we make them, start living a life they're going to live at a later stage. They start now. And it goes with the process of, where you try by all means to discover. When I say try to discover yourself, is where you try so many things, not just one channel. And if you were to come to the Great North Road Academy schools, you'll find that there's one term that we've tried to discourage, to ask learners as to what your career is. Because that one will limit their chances of, thinking and also success. If they say, I want to be a nurse, meaning their focus will be on becoming a nurse. So we normally limit them. We normally stop them from doing so. It's just say, can you do as much as you can, right? So in the process, then you're going to discover now who you are meant to be. Yeah.
So there's also that point about putting in the 10,000 hours before you are actually able to
be considered a pro at that particular thing.
So now if you're going to split to say, I'm going to do 10 different things and I'm not going to focus on being the best software developer ever, but I'm going to be a software developer, I'm going to be a farmer,
a DJ.
I'm going to be a miner, you are
thinning yourself out.
Your thoughts on that?
With life, the way I've come to learn about life, there's always that point of, discovering your identity. So discovering your identity, I'm sure you can agree with me. In that there was a point you used to say you wanted to become a doctor, and it never worked out.
I wanted to be a doctor,
so
lawyer,
even me,
engineer.
I wanted to be an engineer at some point. At some point, I wanted to be a pastor. At some point, I wanted to be what? It never worked out. So it was through trying, where you try this and this, and then in the process you do what you discovered. Say, this is where I do where I belong. So even when it comes to businesses, if I can tell you to say, I've done several businesses. I've done Salaula business. At some point, I used to supply beef on the copper belt, Chingola. That was Mufrila. I used to supply bedspreads to the hotels and so on. And not until through trying, I discovered that I was a service person. I belong to the service industry. And that's when I now focused on that. And that's why when you look at the life cycle of a human being, there's always that stage of, the formative stage where you're trying this and that and so on, until at some point you're going to discover, say, this is where I belong. If you look at the life of a human being, we normally even advise, people to say, as you are growing up, allow this phase where you're trying something, then you make mistakes. You go back, learn something, try this and so on, until one day you're going to discover, say, this is where I belong. And it takes a process and it takes so many years.
I'm happy you mentioned Great North Road Academy, because that's, I think, one of the things you're most famous for. And you're an educationist. You've got a PhD, you're a doctor in education, I'm assuming?
In education, yes.
Right. Now, you being the businessman that you are, and you own a school at Great North Road Academy, right? I'm trying to tap into that the two sides of you, the educationist, the businessman, and looking at the way things are moving today. The education system doesn't seem to be moving at the pace that the world is moving. And by that I mean, the education system is not teaching people about money. You know what I mean? You're teaching people at Great North Road Academy, like you mentioned, others want to be nurses, others want to be whatever, but nothing is teaching them how to handle money when they get into that real world situation. Being who you are, have you sort of, tailored your curriculum at Great North Road Academy to raise kids in that manner, to be the entrepreneur that you are today?
If you've been following what we've been doing, You discover that we are totally different as a school with the Vision School of Choice 2025.
Okay.
And we are alive to what is happening now and the kind of a world that our children will live in. So whilst we have maintained the normal curriculum, the Ministry of Education, so what we have done is we have plugged onto the system, certain activities and values that will be able to help learners, live in the kind of a world they're going to live in. And I'll give you an example of certain programs that we've introduced, such as Skills and Talents. I think we are one of the few schools that have introduced Skills and Talents, entrepreneurship, where entrepreneurship is taught, where, even dancing now is something that we're teaching, film acting we are teaching. You talk about ballet, you talk about, art, all sorts of things. And not just being taught, these are being taught by professionals, people that are into if it's entrepreneurs, it's being taught by an entrepreneur. And apart from that, we have a subject called attitude, because attitude is everything. You can teach someone can be good, but it's about the attitude.
That was my next question.
And recently, was it last year? I think everyone saw this on social media and everywhere, where we sent a team to Dubai. We were there. Many of us went to Dubai. And one of the objectives of going to Dubai was just going to see the world, the way the world is there. What is it that they're doing? And I want to say out of that trip, now we are implementing quite a number of programs. One of the programs that we've introduced is Exploring the Future, where we have become the first school to introduce a subject called Exploring the Future, where now AIs are being taught in our schools. Apart from AIs, even robotics, all these things, we have started teaching them. So I want to say we are far ahead of the current time that we are in now. I'm a business person, and I want to say this aspect of, having started from the business point as a business person, and now an educationist, it has worked out very well, because I'm using my experience from business now to now I'm using it on the part of the school, so that we are looking at it from the business point of view, and also to help these learners become the people they were meant to be.
I'm gonna introduce you to a guy called Jan.
Okay.
He opened a university in South Africa called the Belgium campus.
Okay.
Which is where I went to, and I studied IT. Why this place was so different is that we did our 3 years, which was the academic course, and there is so much demand. I can only speak to IT and software development and technology. There's so much demand for that kind of work in Europe, Belgium to be specific.
Great.
Where off the top of my head, I know 12 companies, and these grew up to almost 80 companies that would go to the university and say, bring in as many interns as possible. We have projects that we need to do.
Oh, okay.
And so how then this would be set up would be you do your 3 years, and then for 1 year, they ship you to Brussels, where you are attached to a specific company, and you begin to work for that 1 year. And when you're done, you go back and you graduate. The one thing that I have realized, which is extremely imperative, is to get people exposed.
Yeah.
Exposure is extremely important. The way
Very
that you
important,
think,
yeah.
the way that your mind is molded. And another synergy that was there as well is because you don't have any work experience, these companies will sort of then mold your working culture.
Yeah.
When you're in Zambia and you grow up and you know that working culture of, you know what, at 5, I'm done. Doesn't matter if the work is done or not. It's 5 p.m. I'm out. Granddaddies. It's a totally different world out there because you don't know anybody. So the way that your mind and how you perceive work is totally different. So happy to make that introduction when I don't know if you offer technology or not, like IT and software development, but I know there is a huge demand. Ericsson is one of them, where they say, bring in as many as you can.
Okay.
We have to get into a program where
I'd be interested to
in a year
to get more.
we can take 20, for example.
Wow.
When they're done, so they keep rotating. And if you do get 5 companies that are taking 20 each,
wow,
Sky's the limit. And when they come back here, the way that they think is totally
great.
different.
Please make it happen. We need more Zambians going for such programs.
Very much. Yeah. That would be interesting. Yeah.
I'll make the call.
That would be great.
Is it safe to say that Great North Road Academy is sort of like an incubator for entrepreneurs for this country?
We are, yes.
Okay.
And not only from learner's point of view, you'll be interested to know that even from the staff point of view, something that we have told everyone who is working under the Great North Road. By the way, it's a group of companies, Twalumba Resort, Twalumba Lodges, and we have a mental health center. So whoever is working at this center, we've told them to say, guys, you are here. And once you come to Great North Road Academy, you discover that even the word job, employment has been redefined. The definition of a job under Great North Road Academy, we normally say it's a place, or maybe you can say it's an activity that you do where you are paid in order to learn. So everyone has taken it to say they are there to learn whilst they're getting paid. And we have made it as a policy, even as an institution, to make sure that each and every person is doing something, the side hustles. Actually, It's a policy. There are even awards to that effect every month. The best entrepreneur, they are working, but they are being awarded as entrepreneurs within the company. And I'm one of, I'm the major leading in terms of that, and also the mentor. So we conduct quite a number of, mentorship programs. And even with the learners, you'll be interested to note that last year, it was even there on social media where we had a market there as a school, where learners came in and they started displaying various, merchandise, and parents were buying, the public, everyone came to buy and so on, just to support them. So we're doing quite a lot in order to build entrepreneurs from there. Yeah.
I want us to go back just a little.
Yeah.
And you mentioned how you didn't say it in those words. I'm paraphrasing, a serial entrepreneur. You tried different kinds of businesses.
Yeah.
Some worked, some didn't.
Yeah.
Of the ones that you tried, which ones were successful? Which ones made you the most money?
The one I was successful was the one I did when I was a student at the University of Zambia.
Well, which one was that?
Which I used to supply bedspreads. And I used to go into, you go in a room and then you go and check, and then you advise someone to say, I can change your room. I used to make bedspreads. I used to make curtains and so on. I would design their rooms. And I used to supply a number of those, even to hotels. So I used to make a lot of money. But though it was quite demanding in terms of time, because I myself, I used to make those things at night. So I'll be in school from morning up to somewhere 5 o'clock. Then at night, I'm working on the machines. So it was quite involving. And that was one of the most successful. And you also be interested to note that when I was a student at the University of Zambia, I also used to supply beef, sausage, and had many deep freezers at UNZA at that time. Because I wanted to curtail, this connection. I saw most students who are going to Kalundu to go and buy, their relish. So what I had to do was to say, okay, how can I cut this link so that, money starts now coming to me? And that's how I bought 3 or 4 big deep freezers, and then I used to buy full, buy full animal, you have it cut, and then you make sausage meats, chickens, you go and buy cut pieces, and I used to make a lot of money. I became a millionaire when I was a student at the University of Zambia. So I had a lot of money. Yeah.
Enterprising human.
The health department caught wind of what you were doing. you would have been back in Choma in 2.5 seconds.
Speaking of Choma, I don't know if you've noticed something about this man and Dumisani.
Yeah.
The similarities.
Which Dumisani?
Dumisani Kube.
The one with the nose? Oh, Mube. So
hey man,
Kube.
the pronunciation, whatever, the guy I'm talking about. Yeah. You notice both grew up in Southern Province.
Yeah.
Poor, no shoes. They moved to Lusaka, couldn't speak English properly. It's like the same story, the two of you.
You know who else grew up in Choma?
Who else?
Dambo.
Do you see what I mean?
Okay.
You know, I think if you want
Dambo. Oh yeah.
I think if you want your kids to grow up millionaires, take them to Choma. There's something in the water.
But also the connection Choma to Chawama.
Oh, Dumisani as well?
No, not Dumisani. But Dumisani Pasha, I think it must have been in Chawama at some point. Yeah.
So I'm happy that we went back to the Choma issue because, and you've mentioned that at Great North Road, you're teaching attitude and things like that. I was watching a podcast recently where a psychologist was talking about how some of the most successful people, and of course there's an exception to this rule, some of the most successful people on this planet, their success can be attributed to a trauma they experienced as a child, where now, as they're growing up, their success now comes from them trying to prove themselves or trying to get themselves out of something that they experienced as a child.
I never heard of that. Because you know why?
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. But have you ever thought about it the other side, which is that same trauma could make you perpetuate the same.
That's why I said there's an exception to the rule.
Yes.
Yes. So for many, according to psychologists, the research, for many, there's that trauma and they end up being successful because they're trying to either run away from it or, prove themselves in a way.
Yeah.
For you, and people like Dumisani, you grew up in a village and whatever, even when you're hustling, there's so much hunger in the hustle because mostly because of your background.
Yeah.
There's the poverty aspect, which really makes you hungry. But at Great North Road, you've got kids who are coming from comfortable homes. Most of the kids.
Yeah.
Is that so? What's that? Is it that the fees is pricey?
Well, quite.
Yeah.
Quite, yeah.
Yeah.
And my point being, for most kids coming from comfortable homes, the hunger really never is there, which is why most of them just spoil the inheritances that they get from their parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But how then do you instill that in somebody who's growing up comfortably, that hunger?
Simple rule, simple thing that we've done. I'm totally different, director altogether. I'm just I'm not just a CEO who sits in the office, and in fact, office time, I only spend about an hour every day. So much of my time I spend on mentoring these young people, and I've discovered to say when, for instance, the way I'm doing extremely well, and I'm with them, whatever I tell them, they will take it as gospel truth, and they're going to follow. So I've literally been working that position of, myself being a mentor, where I'm sharing my story, I'm telling them on what I've done to be where I am and so on. So it's out of that inspiration that you find a number of them are working extremely hard. If you go to all these campuses, you ask them to say, who is your mentor, your role model? They'll say Dr. Siatwambo, that's how much I'm connected, to these young people. So I'm with them. I play with them. Sometimes I take them out. We have all these retreats, and I'm playing games with them. So it's out of that. If we go to Twalumba Resort, for instance, I tell them to say, this I built from nothing to what it is today. So definitely they're able to believe.
Resorts in Great North Road?
No, I haven't. I've heard of it.
Place, man. Kids go nuts when they go there. It's like a small Disneyland. I can describe it that way, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot going on for kids.
Do you know who else had a small Disneyland?
Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
What are you trying to say?
I don't think it
about this man who spends time with kids.
Hey, leave me alone. But then the same question that you just asked, I'm so glad you asked it to him, because if you had asked it to me, my response was, it is not my responsibility to teach that child to navigate through making it in life or not. That's the responsibility of a parent.
What happy you don't own a school?
That's the responsibility of a parent.
You don't own a school?
My man.
Definitely, the children would have gone the other way.
I heard this joke where the guy was like, you're lucky I don't own a school, because every time you came to pick up your child, I'm like, wait, hold on. Are you sure when you dropped off your child here, he had two eyes? Because he looks different now. Well, so here's the other thing. And this is messed up, but I guess it's human nature. You know how people tend to listen to you more or respect what you're saying based off what you have achieved? I was listening to Kanye West. Yeah. And he was saying, before I gave a Pusha T advice, I gave him a record deal and I gave him $1 million. So whatever I then told him to do, he respected what I told him to do because of what I had achieved.
And I've changed his life as well.
And I've changed his life, right?
Yeah.
I say all of this to say, there are so many people that would come and tell you a lot about how you need to navigate entrepreneurship. And then they get out of here and they get on a bus and then they go home.
Motivation speakers who walk to the seminar.
What's your biggest accomplishment to date?
Business-wise.
Business-wise, I can say a lot.
Give
For
us the
me,
top 4 or 5.
4 or 5. For me, it's having raised this empire called the Great North Road Academy Group of Companies, which started from nothing in 2005. That's about
Almost 20 years ago
20
now.
years down the line.
Right.
And then now we have this empire, which commands up to, I think, more than 500. I think we are close to about 500, members of staff. And with what we are doing now, where we've reached a level where we don't need banks, we don't need people to come on board. We are putting up, I think, hotels and other facilities with our own resources. I think for me, that's the biggest achievement. One of the biggest achievement in that it's a point of learning even to other entrepreneurs in this country, Zambians, to say we can do it as Zambians. And I can even stand on the platform and tell people to say, yes, people normally say you need a loan, you need a what, but you can still do it using your mind based on what we have done. Like the resort, if you have to go to the resort, that's a masterpiece. We've done it, no loan. We haven't gotten any money from anywhere, but using our brains. So for me, that's the biggest, achievement in that at least when I go out there, I'm able to tell people, this can be done because I've done it. I can do this. You can be because I've become. And yeah.
And remember, you and I always say the least of your worries when it comes to growing a business idea should be the money.
That's the very last. That's the very last.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always thought and realized that what you need to worry about is the product that you have.
The idea, yeah.
Do people want it?
Okay.
That's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 is, are people willing to pay for it?
To pay for it. Okay. Okay.
Number 3 is your business scalable?
Okay. Okay.
If you answer all those questions, money is the easiest thing is the last thing, not
Last
easiest.
thing, yeah.
It's the last thing that you then need to look for.
Not really. Not really.
So correct me there.
I'll say things based on my model, where I'm coming from. And I've created that one as a model I'm using to teach. I've come to learn that establishing a business, first of all, starts with knowledge. When you want to start running a business, spend a lot of money, first of all, in acquiring knowledge. You learn. I've done it with the rehab center.
You don't need the money.
You don't need the money.
You just started most of your businesses without money.
Without money?
Yeah. Then you're now telling us to spend a lot of money.
Acquiring
learning,
knowledge.
But spending sometimes cannot be in form of money, just in form of money, but even in form of time. Like I've done in the past where I've offered my time. You go and tell a friend, a colleague, because they're running a lodge, to say, can I work under you? Then I learn. I want to understand what is going on. Because in every business, there's what we call the behind the scenes. People, what people see is a complete movie of, what would have been happening. There's a technical aspect.
Yeah, true.
So I've learned it that way. If I have a little, like the way we started the rehab, it's a version of Chinama in a private setup. We are the first private medical doctors and all this and so on. So
you got
first,
a rehab?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have a mental health center.
When you're done explaining the process, I want to speak more about the rehab.
Great.
Go ahead.
So where I had to go and enroll at Chinama, because way before we opened, because I wanted to understand what goes on at Chinama. So I had to travel to South Africa. I had to call people from South Africa. First of all, 2 years, I'm just trying to understand. I'm a teacher by training. Resort, Twalumba lodges, all these that's hospitality. So I had to go into learning first of all. 2 years I'm learning because I want to understand. And once you learn, we normally advise people to say, whilst you're learning, you need to start building a network. Find a niche, find something that you've been known for. Look at my background, where I'm coming from. I think way back, that was around 2005, somewhere there, when I started writing in the Post newspaper. There was a column called Exams Are Easy. And I did that specifically to create a network. And I used to write, whether there was no money coming in. I was on television, wherever I was called, even talks, wherever I was called to give talks, I could do it for free. So what I was trying to do was first and foremost to build a network, because I know if I have a network and if I have a business, then my network can be the market. And if I need money, I can still go back to my network. And I built that network, and I kept on building, and I kept on pumping in money. And even now, that's a model that I'm still using even up to now, where we are building, and the network, we keep on, pumping in money into, like, for instance, now we're sponsoring, some of these musical, concerts, pumping in money into that. Because we know, back on the mind of clients, when clients want to buy something, they normally first of all buy into a name. Why they go to some of these big, enterprises, shops and so on is because of the name. They want to associate themselves with names. So I had to use that model. First of all, to build a name, a brand. And after building a brand now, if you want at that point now, you can do what? You can look for capital. Because if you have capital, then you have no market. Where do you sell things? If you have capital, you have money, then you have no know-how. You don't know how to do something, go about something. So then your capital won't go anywhere. So you need a market. So you need to establish your own market.
It still comes back to the same point, because initially, when I said you have to have the product.
Product, yes.
So when you say whatever product that it is, it could be a service, it could be you're selling cell phones, you're selling watches.
Correct, yeah.
That product, what encompasses you having that product still ties back to the knowledge. You can't have a product if you don't
without the knowledge.
Without the knowledge. So it still ties back to what I've said, right?
Yeah.
And number two, are people willing to pay for whatever it is that you have, right? Because it's useless for you to have a product or a service and people are not willing to spend on that. And once again, it still goes back to the knowledge that how am I going to bill for this? So if you're selling education, if you're selling different kinds of things, how do I price it? To whom am I selling? Right. So you look at the demographic of the people and the segment of the people that you want to sell to. So I feel like it still goes back to the same thing and if the business is scalable or not, because that's when you now begin to look for money, that if it's scalable, to what extent is it scalable? And then how much do I need in order for me to begin to build 5 classrooms instead of 50 classrooms? Or the other way around.
That one sounds more theoretical. Yeah, that one sounds more theoretical. But yeah, I understand what you're talking about. Yeah, but more into, for me, it's, I'll give you an example. When you're talking about building knowledge, the knowledge that I'm talking about, I was on the streets. I learned how to market, the marketing and so on. Yeah. Apart from that, also, even the businesses that I was doing and all this, I acquired quite a number of, skills and so on. So the knowledge that I'm talking about is not necessarily the product where you have the product or you do what, where you go deeper into what goes on. If I tell you to say, running a business is not something which people think it's easy. There's a lot that happens in the background. A lot in terms of, there's what we call business mathematics. That's one of them. A lot in terms of, establishing systems. You talk about establishing systems, like right now, I don't need to be at the resort for the resort to run. I don't need to be at the school, any of the schools for the schools to run, because schools are run, by the systems and so on. So for me, there's more to, yes, product and all this, but where you leave out, first of all, you don't start with the product or anything, but where you literally focus on understand what goes on and where you're working under somebody probably that is already doing what you want to do.
Doc, gentleman, here's the question.
Yeah.
So, Doc, sorry.
You're apologizing.
Because I want to take the conversation a little bit backwards.
Backwards, yes.
So, I've been hearing about your humble beginnings, and then from there, there's a part which I'm not really getting clear. The part of whereby you get all the ideas, you get all the knowledge, but then how do you generate capital to buy land and start a school as a business running? Like, is it something that you got a grant? Is it something that you've been saving?
Good question.
So, I want to know, like a step by step, probably for lack of better terms, step by step. How did you end up having a school to your name? And how many schools did you have in the beginning?
Thank you so much. In the beginning, there was only one school, the Great North Shore Academy, the 1 year ZRA, of which now there are 5 schools that we're running. When we were starting, I'm talking about this because of my co-director, Madam Siatwambo, my wife. First and foremost, I've talked about the issue of the network. It was as simple as you sit on a computer, you do a business plan. And after doing a business plan, and then you check within your networks, who can help me with this amount? Not going to the bank, we never went to the bank. And went to 1 or 2 people that, of course, there was trust in between us. And this is the person now that did what? That gave us some money to say, you can start partially. Some of the monies we had to do what? We had the money. And at that time, I remember we had, was it a Toyota Corolla? We had a few items. And we sold those things. And we said, for now, let's start from, just a simple life. We started renting in a one-room house for quite some time. We're there. So that we could grow the business. So it was out of that money now that we started the business. So people normally say, I don't have capital. But, you're texting me from probably an iPhone. That's capital. You can start from there. People are saying you don't have capital. If we go in your home, you find that you have what? You have a TV. You can sell that one and start from nothing. But in the end, the issue, the one that I've talked about, the network, it worked out so well. Because at some point, I remember I used to run a business where all we had to do was just to know, for instance, who had toners. We used to sell toners. We used to supply toners. That was one of the side hustles. We just established linkages with people that were supplying toners. And we knew how to go about, finding, clients. Once we find clients, then we go to those people, say, can you go give us toner? Then we go and do it. We go and supply, then we give you the money. Once the money was in, then we give them and so on. Then we started growing our business from there.
Very good. So the other question that I had was, you're so much passionate about creating systems. So when you talk about creating a system, especially in a company or rather in a business, what do you mean? Like specifically when you say create a system, and how do somebody create a system from a business that's you are the one running it? And for example, you keep on saying that if you're not there, then if you're not there, then the system won't work. So how do you move from you being the person out front there to creating a system whereby the business will still work whether you're there or not there? So just want you to explain a little bit more about that as well. Sorry.
I don't know. That's what he said. I heard something different, but go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So a business system. Maybe when I say it like that, it sounds a bit complicated. Or maybe I can say it's something that we have put in place. Like if you come to our institutions, you find that the way you are welcomed, for instance, you are welcomed the same. If you go to Tualumba, if you go to any of these, try and test that. The way people treat you, the way people look at you, the way people do it, the way people conduct themselves, same wherever you go. Why? Because we have built a culture and also there's a system. And that system now, the way it's built, we built it in such a way that, for instance, we have a sales and marketing team, system. There's also the business mathematics. All these are in talking, human resource. These are in talking. So to build these systems, it takes a little bit of some time. And normally for people that are starting businesses, we normally advise them, say, when you're starting, focus whilst you're running a business, focus on building what systems. So that at some point, you move out of the business so that the system can run the business. If you go to any of these centers, I want to tell you to say you find people go about, their business. If I arrive, you won't see people scampering, doing what, and so on. Because they know they are not answerable to me, but they're answerable to the system. So they fear more of the system than me because of the way we have built. It's quite a long, process in terms of establishing a business.
It's how McDonald's is able to run. The owners are in America, dead even. Yeah. But the system keeps the whole company still running.
And it's a franchise as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Something that I want to say, it has just slipped my mind again.
Yeah.
No, I'm having one of those days.
Yeah.
Dr. Rozious, you mentioned you started your business with Mrs. Siatwambo.
Yeah.
I saw you posted something just before, a day before Valentine's Day.
Were
you plating her hair? Were you just putting oil in her head? What was happening there?
Yeah, plating.
You were plating her hair?
Yes, no. I was undoing. I was unplating and also scalping. Sometimes I do some scalping and
this like on a regular basis.
Yeah,
learn something else then.
Yeah, but are you married?
You? Yes, I'm married.
Who is married?
I'm married.
Okay,
I'm not gonna do that to myself.
Do what? Plating
or scalping and
get stuck in marriage.
Yeah.
This guy is so against marriage.
I'm not against it.
Yeah.
It's just not
against him getting married.
It's just not for me.
It's just not.
It's just not for me.
Yeah, I mean it's like school.
But with the rule of the game, the way it works, who you marry matters when it comes to success.
1,000,000%.
So who did you marry? Who did you marry?
Mrs. Siatwambo.
No, I mean like, what's it about her that made you choose her over every other woman?
A friend.
Bam.
She's a
Very
friend.
good
And
answer.
Yeah.
That's a very good answer.
Yeah.
This is always what I've said.
Yeah.
Marry your friend.
Yeah. So we're best of friends. Yeah. So even what we post sometimes is not out of pretense. It's not out of social media, Say we are looking for numbers. That's how we live. We've lived together for more than 18 years.
18?
As friends, yeah.
And you've been married for how many years?
I don't remember any time we had what and so on. People
Have
say
you been married
marriage,
for that 18 years or just lived together for 18? And
we've been married together for, that's 18 years. Yeah.
and the dating, how long did that take?
Dating.
Yeah.
For some time. I can't remember, 2 to 3 years or somewhere there. But we started as friends, first of all, before. Yeah.
Wait, so let me,
Yeah.
It's gone again.
no, it's not gone. It's not gone.
Bring it on.
No, it's not gone. We had a very interesting chat with your PA.
Okay. All right.
She
came
came,
to
she
warn
said
us
right
about
when
stuff.
you're sitting
Right when-
there,
okay,
and you're
all
like, you will not ask this man any personal questions. No, you know what I want to find out is,
Yeah.
so your friends, right? Are
Yeah.
you? One thing that so we're talking as men here.
Yeah.
I'm yet to meet a man
Yeah.
who meets a woman that is smart, that is funny, that is intelligent, that is witty, that is kind, and says, I want to make her my friend.
Okay.
Never happens.
But she's one of those persons I met.
Wait, so
Yeah.
when you met her, your intent
Was to be friends.
To be friends.
Not really.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah. We're working together at some point.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Then when there was need, and then I searched around and said the only person, because we get along.
He
when it
says
comes
when
to
there
work.
was need.
When there was need. Yeah. Yeah.
When there was need.
When the need was
The
there.
need was there. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what's happening to me. I keep spacing out. I come up with these brilliant questions.
Questions. Okay.
I wait for you to finish your point. By the time that you're done,
That's me when
Okay.
I've got lack of sleep. And this is happening more often than not. I'm
Okay.
having trouble sleeping, and when I wake up, we'll come to the podcast and I'll be zoning out half the episode. Remember the Bobby's episode? You kept waking me up?
I keep waking you up.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I've not been in employment for about 6 years.
6 years.
I started my own business about
that's
6 years
great.
ago.
That's great. Yeah.
Same, yeah. About 8.
Oh, lovely.
This is not about me, but I wanna give context, right? So I run 2 companies. One is software development. The other one is in fintech.
Yeah.
One thing that I have sort of come to learn is, when you listen to motivational speakers or when you listen to other entrepreneurs, there's a lot in their journey that they never really give you a step-by-step guide. Not that there's a step-by-step guide.
Yeah.
Sort of ties into what Gob said. Right now, I'm fighting with a couple of banks. Right? I need
Fighting
money.
with what?
Fighting with a couple of banks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to show you something.
Yeah.
Right now, I need money to scale my business, right?
Okay.
So I go to Bank X.
Yeah.
Financials are there.
Yeah.
They speak for themselves.
Yeah.
This is how much money this guy is making. And I go to these guys and I ask them for a specific amount of money.
Yeah.
And what they said to me was, if you can read the first 2 points there,
Yeah.
I'm
So the
pretty
first
sure that this is something which you have faced quite a lot.
Yeah.
Do you see point
Collateral.
number 1 that they've said there?
Yeah.
Where they've refused what I offered.
Basil
Now, I
collateral.
want to
Can
show
I read it out loud maybe for our viewers?
Okay, so
Don't know which bank this is.
sent to Zambia.
No, you should
Limited.
not have. Please bleep out the name of the company.
Okay,
you
sent
heard.
to Zambia
company?
Limited to.
He just said
okay.
the name of my
Okay,
company.
All right. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Let-
So
let-
I thought it was yeah.
Let me read it without the
Read it,
names
yeah.
here.
Yeah, but what
So
he
the
just
reasons
said,
they gave
bleep it out.
you
Yeah.
were your company
Uh-huh.
is to provide collateral with a simple structure on it. Bare land is not acceptable given financing requirement you seek from our bank. 2, since the business has been operational for more than 3 years, you are required to provide 3-year audited financials.
Right, now pause there. Give me
Okay.
this.
Yeah.
Right, so I want you to think of the first thing that they have refused.
The bare land.
Bare land.
The bare land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm going to show
Everywhere
you.
you go, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm going to show you now is the price of the land. Right? Give me a second.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to a lawyer about that. They said there has to be a structure on the land.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. So now I'm just going to show you the price of the land. And this was as of 26th of April, 2022.
And they don't care
Yeah.
about that.
Look at that. Hey, please give it to him as well.
And they don't care about that.
Please read that out loud.
What, $420,000? That's about 10, 12 million kwacha,
Million
give or
kwacha,
take.
somewhere there.
You see
Yeah.
what?
Put the surveying of the land.
Of that
Who did
land?
the surveying of the land?
Pam Golding.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Pam Golding did.
Wow.
So give or take is about 10 million, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what they said to me was, okay, I'm not gonna get into it because it's still ongoing. But the reason why I brought this up is that I try to separate myself from the business.
The business. Okay.
Right. It gets to a point where my partners are willing to guarantee anything that needs to be guaranteed. But now when it gets to a point where you need support in order to scale, there are certain things that you can only know once you get into it.
Yeah.
When you sit and you're planning and you're putting things together, you'll be like, okay, so I'm going to do this first, and I'm going to do that first, and I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Obviously I've been running it for 3 years.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yeah.
it's sustainable.
Okay.
But now where it begins to, okay, I need more money to move from this point to this point. And if I'm going to go to this institution, now they're going to make you jump through hoops. So now they need me to build a structure on that land. If I had money, I wouldn't
could have-
come to the bank.
Yeah,
If I had money
yeah,
to build
yeah.
that
To
structure,
build that structure,
I'll,
yeah.
I'll just use the money for a business.
From what I hear,
Yeah.
you can do a wall around it and a simple chicken run.
And you know the
And you increase the value.
The funny part about it, sorry to mention this, the funny part about it, I don't know how this one works out, is whilst you are struggling with that, my struggle, I don't know whether I can quite it's a struggle where now banks apply
to give you money.
finance, which I've rejected because we have closed.
And
Said,
the banks will give you money when you don't need the money.
You know the funniest thing is what
I've
you've
had,
just
I've
said.
had
It's just
so
the way it
many.
just
I've had
works.
so many offers, even towards the hotel. We can give you so much millions.
Now
We
that
can
you
give
don't need the money.
Others are even saying within 2-3 days, please.
And that's precisely, you know, there's a certain bank, and to this day I turned them down because of how expensive the facility was. But to this day, I've never met a bank or a person that is that flexible. Here's a clue: this bank is run by a lady.
Okay.
They came up with something so unique. The bank did not even have that structure.
Wow.
They said, we are going to give you this facility. It doesn't exist. We're going to tailor it around what you require. Cool. Hunky dory was started the process. And when it comes to how much I have to pay them at the end of the year, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
It's fine. All I'm hearing from this conversation is, guys, get rich. Or die trying.
But you know what? What I normally advise is, for me, what I've come to learn about a business is it takes a process.
Right.
I've been into it for now, is it 19 years from 2005 to now? But before then, I was already into business. Yeah, for me to reach this point, I've learned to trust the process, one day at a time. And the first, if I can tell you that when I started running this business, the first about 7 years, we never made any profit.
All right.
And it was rough, very tough. And later on, over the past 10 years, if we can tell you what we have done now, because we've literally bought off all these buildings where you have all the Great North Road Academy, centers, we bought them off the resort. So we are not on any rented, premises and so on. Beautiful. And this has happened over a period of about 10 years. Mm-hmm. So I've come to learn that in the initial years of running a business, for me, the process might seem to be very slow, but there's a lot more that is happening. And probably the focus should be on building the networks. So build the networks, the knowledge that I've talked about and so on. And it's a bit slow, very slow. You can't even see what is happening. And once your networks would have grown, now you don't need even to beg for money, to ask for money and all this. Everything becomes water. But again, from a human point of view, there's this element of you want this to happen tomorrow. Now.
That's a big mistake.
I've put myself out of that.
That is a big mistake.
There are projects that I'm running, big projects that I'm running now, where I've told myself, yes, I'd put opening dates last year. We needed to commission the hotel last year. But by the end of last year, things were not in place. We
Yeah.
shifted the dates to this year, May. We still have containers that haven't been loaded in China. So we keep on moving. So
Right.
at the end of the day, we are not going to panic. We're not going to go into borrowing in the name of, let's rush the process. We get
Let
some
it
money
happen
and then
whenever.
would rather we leave it there, but we focus on our goal to say that's where we're going.
You know, there's that old saying that progress has got very little to do with speed, but direction.
Direction, exactly.
If your direction
Yeah.
is correct, speed
Yeah.
doesn't really matter.
You're right.
Again, going back to me, when you're an entrepreneur and you get to that level where you've got a business, it could be in its infancy, you've got a market, you've got people that are willing to pay for it. It could be Salaula, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
You know where you're buying your secondhand clothes. You've got the market of the people that want to buy the clothes.
Yeah.
And what you need is capital.
Yeah.
You've got a couple of ways that I think. Either you can go to the bank, try and borrow money.
Yeah.
You can start a little side hustle where you're selling matches, and the money that you raise from selling matches then goes into a Salaula business.
Yeah.
One of the options that keep coming to me is one of two.
Yeah.
Either number one, you go to an institution and say, "Hey, listen, can you give me 2 million?" Right?
Okay.
The rate would be whatever the rate is per
Yeah,
month or
yeah,
per annum.
yeah,
They
yeah.
give to you. You scale your business if it makes sense. Option number two could be selling equity.
All right.
The money is then put in, and you are in this with your partner, but you've given equity in exchange,
And it helps you scale.
Scale.
and that helps
Yeah,
you scale.
Yeah.
Which have you, in your experience, noticed as the most advisable route to take if you need to scale or raise capital?
First, let me say it the other way around. I wouldn't advise one to go the bank route. Yeah, so the bank route, why I'm saying so, because at some point we borrowed a little bit when we were buying one of these properties. And the repayments never ended. And they kept on, pushing, you go up, you keep on paying and so on. And it was rough. Sometimes you lag behind in terms of repayments and they are on you. So I wouldn't advise anyone to go that route. The equity part, yes, it does work. But for me, the best route that I would advise someone is to go the route of, establishing, linkages. And this I can tell you that here on top, every business person is looking for someone they can, here on top is lonely. Everyone is telling you, say, I'm looking for someone I can work with. Not really, that's at that level. So I have some friends with me, I have friends where I can go to them and ask them to say, Mwana, can you give me this? Give me this amount of money. And they can give me without asking me to say, when I'm going to pay back this money and so on, what is it for? And I have a number of these networks. But again, it takes a bit of some process for one to reach that level. Yeah.
Which is what I was about to say.
Then apart from that also, I'm trying also to use the issue of trust when it comes to, for instance, suppliers and other people. So we've created linkages where I'm building right now. If I need steel, if I don't have the money, I'll have the money maybe a month from now. I know of an Indian somewhere, I know of a friend somewhere. I just call them. I don't have the money, please, can you supply steel? So that we don't stop working.
Doc, please pause just right there.
Yeah.
I feel you are already at a different level when you are able to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, I will give you your money in 30 days.
Yeah.
Right now, I am thinking of somebody who can barely afford talk time.
Talk time, yeah.
The only people that he has are the people that are around him that are on the same level as him.
Yeah.
So up until you get to that point where you are able to, call an Oscar Chavula, or the Indian guy to say, can you give me this? And they'll be like, yeah, of course, he's good for it. At that level, how best are you able to scale your business, raise money, to get to the level where you are now in the same room with these people? Because I feel like once you're in the same room as them, they literally can say, oh, because so if he can be in this room with us, he's probably at a certain level where we can trust that he's
Again, you might not like the answer that I'm going to give to that, because I'll take you back to the issue of the process. And this is the reason why many people, many entrepreneurs have found themselves in scandals, being scammed and so on. And even, I think we've heard a lot of scandals and so on. Why? Because they wanted to force matters. They wanted things to happen tomorrow. Unfortunate success, the success that I know, is something that you can never force. You have to wait for the right time. And for me, I wouldn't advise someone to force things by going the long way, by going probably the way of, equity, if at all you come across that. I would advise someone to take things step by step. And for me, the greatest capital that one can ever acquire is the social capital. Because once you have it yourself, once you have it by yourself, then you know you have no problems because you have all the people around you. And for me, when one is establishing the business, during the areas, what you need to start with is, first of all, build the social capital. Do as much as you can. It can take many years. Like I've told you, we established Great North Road Academy in 2005. It took us not until 2011 to start making profit. What are we doing in between? Pumping in money into what? Into social capital. We are pumping in money into knowledge. We are pumping in money into all these things. So you are talking about a whole lot of a long period of time, especially if you want to establish a long life business, a long whatever business that will stand the test of time. You just have to take time and you are tuning it bit by bit. Networks, you are tuning it, you tune on this and so on. For me, there are no shortcuts when you talk about success.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I just switch this conversation to, I know you want to delve more on this topic, the rehab center.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wanted to talk about that more.
Yeah, I want to know about the rehab. Not so much why, but just tell me what
Let's
you offer.
start with the why first.
Yeah, okay.
Let's start with the why.
Yeah,
why rehab center?
Okay, why rehab center?
Is this something close to your heart? Is there somebody in your family who needed rehab?
Yeah, I can say it's something which is close to my heart. From the time I started Great North Road Academy, I want to say I've been working with young people for quite some time. And in working with young people, sometimes would come from across the country, and then you are dealing with them and they come to you, they're presenting all sorts of problems. Others are saying, oh, me, I was expelled, I was suspended. So it was out of that I started now studying. There's one thing about me that probably you need to know, or in that I'm a very sharp person when it comes to, identifying opportunities. A real business person, a genuine business person will tell you to say, we have this, extra eye, in that we pay attention to problems. When I'm conversating with somebody, then I'll pay attention to the problem, and then from there I'm creating. Even right now, there are no rains. I want to say I'm creating something already in my head and so on. So whenever there are problems, you take advantage of that. So for the rehab center, you have all these young people that we are attending to. You have the Tokota boys on the Copper Belt. You have some sex parties that are taking place. That was Woodlands that time. It was from that point that I started now researching to say there could be a solution to this, problem. And upon researching, I discovered that the answer lied in, the establishment of a rehab center. And that's how I embarked on a mission of, studying, going to, Chainama, calling on experts, paying people just for me to know, going to South Africa, and so on. So it's coming from that background that the rehab center was established.
And how many people do you have currently?
Rehab center?
That work there begin with? Yeah.
We have passed more than 50 people that are working.
50.
But just to tell you on how it operates, it's a drug and alcohol treatment center. It's a mental health. It's licensed. We have doctors. We have nurses, and we treat addicts, because alcohol, drugs, if one is not treated medically, they can still go back. They'll still keep on going
100%.
back. Yeah. So. We have quite a number of people. We have therapists, for instance. We have psychiatrists. We have doctors. We have pastors also, because there are certain cases that you'd see they say no, this one doesn't require much of medical attention, so they just need prayers and they are prayed for. So we have quite a huge group. So it's about 50 plus people that are working at the center.
And clients, or AKA patients?
We have attended to more than 2,800 people from the time it was established. That's 2008. And it runs both the admission side, inpatient and outpatient. And currently in the inpatient, we have close to about 60. So we only have about 63 bed spaces at a time. But we have those that are coming every day and also going out, yeah. Yeah.
Mental health is something which is very dear to me.
Yeah.
I spoke about technology. I am in the final stages of finishing up an application that matches people that need therapy to therapists.
Oh.
So essentially, all it does is if I'm married and I'm in debt and I am on the verge of being fired, you go onto the app, you tick what's most appropriate with what you're going through. And it then matches you according to, say, at your rehab, you've got 20 different therapists that focus and specialize on different kinds of aspects. So it will then match a therapist to the patient. And by the time that the doctor has that information or is attending to you, they already know that, oh, okay, so this guy's got a gambling issue.
Yeah.
And they already know what to speak about. One thing we've had the Justice Minister on the podcast, and I spoke to him about this, and I mentioned this in the last episode with Simon Mwewa. And this is something that I don't know if you guys currently embark on or not, but a lot of what prison does is not really correctional, right? If you steal, you are given the same institution as somebody who has raped, whereas one of those could be more psychological than anything else.
Actually, they say 50%.
There you go.
Of the cases there.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of what R. Kelly is in prison for, for raping or for being with underage girls, is because he was raped as a child.
Yeah.
And so all he did was repeat the cycle of the trauma that he faced.
Yeah.
No amount of prison can fix that. You're going to throw him in prison for 10 years or for 15 years. Guess what he's going to do when he gets out? Now he knows how to hide it better.
Yeah.
So that has not really cured him. But where he's in an institution, I'm not saying he should be coming from home. He's putting him in an institution. It could be prison.
Yeah.
But now with collaboration with your rehab, while he's in there, he's going through therapy.
Yeah.
That helps him deal with the trauma that he faced. I feel there is a lot that you can do if you're not doing yet.
Very much, yeah.
Which, when you then look back, apart from making money, you can look back and you say, I've had an impact on 1 million people. 50,000 were sex addicts, other people were pedophiles, other people were A, B, C, and D. And through what we have done, we've educated people through the academy. We have helped these kinds of people, get over whatever addiction that they've had.
Yeah. We are not yet doing that. But we have advanced quite a number of proposals,
right?
Including even one for these junkies. I think that's an outcry right now in the communities. There's so many junkies, and one of the proposals that we advanced to the government was that, you see, you are the people that are now escalating these issues, in that you round up almost about 80 of them, just take them into cells, and then the following day they are released back on the streets. The other day it happens the same, because what would have been happening is we needed to have a center where they are placed somewhere, probably for a week, not being punished, but someone must offer therapy to them, including even the correctional facilities. We have advanced to such, proposals. But unfortunate, when you're dealing with the government, it always be someone who say, no, this one is not doing. Pardon?
Your wife is a politician.
Yeah, my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a politician, yeah.
Doesn't that help in some of the things that you need to...
No, not at that stage.
What stage is she?
She only
politics?
attempted as a candidate in one of the
MP?
constituencies. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And did she win?
No, she didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So she's at that stage. So she's not at that stage where she can influence certain decisions.
policy and things like that.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then another thing,
Yeah.
sorry to keep switching topics.
Yeah.
You know, it's the amount of support that you have to give a spouse
Yeah.
who's into politics. Because the time that you decide to run into politics, you yourself want to become a member of parliament, you want to represent people, etc. You've made the decision, right?
Yeah.
But then you bring so much attention not only to you, but your family.
Okay.
You get what I mean? People now want to know
Yeah.
who her husband is. Who are her kids?
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say?
What does the
right?
husband
Yeah.
do?
What does the
What does
husband
the-
Where does he drink from? Where does he chill
Right.
from?
So now imagine if your wife was just an accountant. You don't have that much of a spotlight than if she says, I want to get into politics. Now suddenly you have got so much scrutiny around her and her family. How do you navigate around that?
I'm not a political being. I'm not into politics, and this one I'm trying to draw a line. But also it's coming also from a background where when I'm married to someone, and you shouldn't stop someone from becoming the person they were
That
meant
they want
to be.
yes.
I want her to explore. I want her to be the person she was meant to be. So that can never stop her. So all I have to do is let me not side in any case. Like we are in business. Business is business. When I'm dealing with the business issues, and even when it comes to other areas, I'm not in any way into what dealing with talk about politics. I don't talk about politics. And if you look at the businesses, I think I'm the one who is more in the limelight than her. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't affect us in any way, and that it's normal. She can run with that in the background. We don't have any problem.
No, my question mainly was, does it not bother you? I'll give you a pretty good example.
Yeah.
I was listening to, I still am. I'm listening to the audiobook that Barack Obama did.
Yeah.
And he mentions in one chapter how the conversation went when he went to his wife.
Yeah.
And had the first conversation, because, you know, he was a lawyer, practicing lawyer, and had the first conversation to say, I want to become a politician.
Yeah.
And she used all kinds of curse words at him,
Yeah.
right? That it stops being about just you. Because the press, for example, are very ruthless. They begin attacking the wife, they begin attacking the kids. I'm sure you've seen pictures of...
Past.
Right, I'm
Bring
sure
up
you've seen
girlfriends
pictures
into
of...
the equation as well.
Right.
Yeah.
You've seen pictures of Obama's kids. One was smoking. Headline.
It went, yeah.
You know what I mean? My question mainly is, does it affect the work that you have to do? Because people are not really looking at you, but because of your association with somebody who's in politics, it then brings eyeballs to you and your businesses.
It doesn't affect me in any way.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, because I think maybe because of the work that I do, I save people's lives. So the field that I'm in, I deal with even politicians from across. You talk about whether the opposition, if they come to the rehab center, I think we have had a lot of people that we have dealt with. Maybe
A lot of politicians?
So many. Yeah, so many.
I think I might know a few.
Yeah. No, we don't mention when we
No,
are.
I'm not going to mention names.
So we've had a lot of them. We have had a lot of them. So because of the nature of the work that I do, if you come to the school point, politicians, children, many people's children are there. If you come to the rehab center, we deal with it. So I'm a people's person. Mm-hmm. So in any case, no one can attack me. So, and even what I do, I don't do it, it's all about myself. And that's why one of the things that you never see about me is boasting over, what I have. People don't know. Most people have never known what I do in the background. There's a lot that I'm doing, but you never see me showing. Even right now, we are building, I don't know how many story building. You never see it on social media, say, wow, we are building this and so on. Why? Because that's what people don't like. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm with the people, working with the people, dealing with the people every day. Mm-hmm. So how do they attack me? So they can't attack me because I'm there for them. They don't know it.
Yeah.
I'm with them.
Right.
Yeah.
But then also, You're a renowned entrepreneur in this country and not a motivational speaker, but I think I would be motivated if I knew some of the things that you do, apart from just Great North Road Academy, the rehab now, Tolumba Resorts.
Yeah.
You're talking about not posting the whatever story hotel that you're building. I think if I saw that, I'd be more motivated to want to be like you.
No, I don't do that.
You don't think so?
Even what I drive, I don't post. I don't post what. Sorry, even what I drive, I don't post what I drive.
Well, what do you drive though?
No. Just know I drive. I don't drive what I drive. I'll never show what is private. I mean, if I allow something to come out, it simply means it's public.
Simon,
So
what
many young entrepreneurs that you would inspire.
No.
But would you share your net worth with us, though?
My network?
Yeah, net worth.
Net worthy. No.
Approximately.
No, just go and calculate the resort. You have the resort. That's a multi-million project.
Okay, now let's get an estimation.
Yeah, let's get an estimation.
So the land around where the resorts are, give or take, what's the value of the land there?
I think plus or minus 15 M.
15 million
dollars.
Dollars or kwacha?
Dollars, yeah.
That's the land.
I think plus or minus.
Is that the
10.
land or
Before the infrastructure?
No, before the structure. No, it was cheap.
Okay,
so $15 million right now.
After adding value,
it's about $15 million.
Somewhere 10.
So that's the value of the buildings and the land.
Buildings and the land and everything.
The goodwill, the business.
So never mind the actual business and the name and everything else.
Yeah.
Right. And the biggest one that you have is the university, innit?
No. We only have schools. But the biggest school that we have is a boarding.
Universities. What are they?
Kindergarten to high schools. But we have the biggest one is a boarding school in Chilanga.
Right.
So
that's about another $15 million.
No. I'm just know that I'm just a common person.
Right. No, there's nothing common about you.
In Zambia, people don't like,
boasting
figures.
Tell that to Simon Miller. You know Simon?
Yeah, I know Simon. Yeah, he's a colleague. Yeah, he's a colleague.
Tell that to him, that people don't like boasting.
But then that's his brand. That's what he's sold out to people. And they love it because they're the numbers that are on his page every day.
But we differ because maybe those who are into selling things, I deal with people. How do I boast, before my people, to my people? I'm dealing with all these addicts. I'm dealing with all these kids. Why should I come out and say, wow, right. I'm dealing with hundreds of parents, hundreds, probably in thousands of parents that are bringing their children to these schools. So for me, when you talk about business, I look at things differently. In business, we normally treat our clients as our bosses.
Of course.
So I don't need to go about, telling
boasting
my bosses, say, I'm driving this, I'm owning this.
The money you gave me bought
the people who made me to be the person I am today. So I don't show what, even where I stay, people should know what I've built, what I've done. Those who know, yes, they can get there. Of course, on the surface, they know I'm behind the resort, I'm behind this, I'm behind this. But I'll never show. Even when I'm traveling out, you never know I'm out of the country, where I am.
So another question, something that I would want to know is, when you're an entrepreneur, you kind of need to know your strengths and you play to your strengths.
Yeah.
And I've seen this happen in different factors where, because you are the founder of a company, does not necessarily make you the best person to run it. And the other way around, where other people, they are good at starting a business, but are terrible at running it.
Yeah. Okay.
Where do you fall? And why?
With me, I'm the founder, but I've built a team of people around me. And these are the people that are running it. And I'm part of I'm part of the team.
So what's your involvement, like on a daily basis?
Policy direction. I'm a vision carrier. So I tell them where we are going, but how to get there. Now the team comes in and we work it out together. So we run as a team, we work as a team. I built a very powerful team around me. Yeah. In that, even Corella, when it was announced that schools were not opening, I didn't even know that they'd even come up with their own ideas on how they will manage during this time. So that's the kind of a team that I've built. They know, even now, if they announce to say there's something that has happened, they'll know they'll come up with ideas, work out on something and so on. And before long, even me, I learn about it maybe on these groups to say, wow, this is good. Because they have understood my mind. They understand what I'm looking for. They understand where we're going.
At what point do you feel it might be wise to sell a business? If somebody comes to you today and says, I'm going to offer you 30 million for Twalumba Resorts.
Not at this point.
Why?
It is part of me. Yeah. It's part and parcel of me. Yeah. So something
But
that
so
I've
were
built,
all the other businesses that you started.
something that I've built right from the scratch. I'm not ready to see it in the hands of another person. Because for me, running a business is not just about making money. I'm not into it to make money. If I was into making money, maybe you would have been hearing, say, I've bought Jaguars, I've done what, and so on. I'm there for, service. I need to serve the people. I'm there also to, when I see a lot of young people, being offered employment, I think to me, I celebrate. So I wouldn't love to see it in the hands of another person. Maybe if I was there to make money, I would have said, let me sell it so that I can make money.
You're
so I'm not
social entrepreneur.
Yeah, I'm not excited when it comes to money.
Well, that explains why your schools are expensive then.
They're not.
That was me
Average.
being sarcastic because you said you're not in it for money.
No. On average, we are the cheapest. Looking at the services that we provide.
How much are we talking about?
On average, 7,000.
Yeah, that's cheap.
But if you check within Lusaka, most of these schools are 15, 20.
Yeah, it's
And
pretty
the
cheap.
service that we are providing, that we are giving out is
Top
excellent,
notch.
top notch.
Good stuff.
So we are there for the middle and those lower that can manage.
Why are you giving me a
The
thumbs up?
higher class, yeah.
Why are you giving me a thumbs up? You want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you been running now?
Yeah.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can ask your last question.
No, because he mentioned he needed to leave after an hour, so that's why I was.
Yeah.
My last question, I think that was my last question, net worth. I was
Yeah.
really interested because, there's so many young entrepreneurs watching
Yeah.
this and would love to know how far they can go in this country because you are one very accomplished person. You've got so many institutions, there's so much money coming in. So I'm just interested in net worth. And that's one question that you've already explained you're not comfortable answering
No,
because
the net worth issue, I can't. You can do it on your own. Twalumba Resort is one of them.
Or we can talk when walking
When
out
we're
of the set.
walking, yeah, we can talk. I don't like mentioning things to do with money, like I've stated. I'll never. I don't in public because
ACS is
the
watching.
clients, all people that are watching, they are my bosses.
Yeah.
For
Also
me, that's why you've seen also. I'm more of a ground person. If you come to the resort, you rarely find me in the office. I work on the ground as a waiter. I work sometimes as a receptionist. So these are my bosses. So why should I tell them, say, oh, you've made me become like this. I'm now this rich.
Doc,
No, they shouldn't even know.
Doc,
Yeah?
we've got this podcast thing growing and
Yeah.
you've been giving sound business advice from the
Yeah.
time we started. We're trying to, how can we grow this? Because we owe this guy a salary after this episode.
Yeah.
And we owe him in perpetuity because he needs to get paid every month.
Every month.
Yeah. How can we grow this into a business like
I will
yours?
tell you how the hell you can do it. You can learn to do what Gob is doing.
Yeah.
We've bought
What?
our own cameras.
Hey, listen, he might give us an idea. That's what I'm asking. He's a businessman.
Well, I wouldn't know what you're doing. So currently what you're doing.
Okay.
I wouldn't know what you're doing currently. Yeah, but I've seen the ideas that you have where you have sponsors. You brought sponsors on board, which is good.
Okay.
And probably many more sponsors. If you can bring more sponsors, there are so many people that are more
I
than
don't agree
willing
with
to.
that. I don't agree with that model.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because
I also defend my position.
becomes an
Yeah,
advert.
let me hear.
defend your position.
No. Let me hear from you. Yeah.
Once you have somebody who is paying for that, and that's how you're making your livelihood, you are at the mercy of you making money for as long as they are paying you. That is number one. Number two is, depending on your sponsors, they can come in and begin to control
Dictate the
content
direction that
of
the
what
show
you
takes.
can and can't talk about, thereby alienating your audience, which is what they are after anyways. They've come to you because, like us, we've had like 4 million views, we've won awards, and then they come and they say, oh, you can't talk like this. You can only talk like that, right?
Yeah.
I'll call him back.
Yeah.
So that model, I feel, is a little shifty. Only for those reasons that I've just
Okay.
mentioned.
Okay.
So I would like for you to defend your position.
You'd like
based on
to
that.
hear my position only, I think, because you have defended it so well. Yeah, but in any case, if you have those 4 million viewers, it simply means, Because with companies, what we are normally interested in sometimes it's riding on your on your network.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it's the numbers.
Only for you to then come in and then begin to change. Did you see the comments, Kalenga, when we introduced the Swager? What people said in the comments?
Oh, don't change.
Oh,
But we kept saying, look, if we continue on that trajectory, certain language in this show, we're not going to have people like Dr. Siatwambo coming on the show.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So we need to
for
read
me,
the room.
For me,
so.
that's the language of the business. Anyway, I don't know how from your end how on the part of the podcast the way it works, but those of us who are into service industry, what we do, we normally listen more from the clients. In fact, we have a research team. We have a research team 24/7. They're working, and they're the ones that are giving the direction of the business. Say, guys, let's go this way. This is what people are saying.
Speaking of sponsors,
yeah.
Do you want to sponsor a couple of episodes so people get to know about your businesses?
Like this one, so we can pay this guy.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, depending on how we agree.
Can you sponsor this episode?
Depending on how we agree.
Okay.
Let's agree. Go cut this episode. We need to talk business now.
we'll talk behind the scenes. We'll talk.
I feel like there's a lot. I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
Having known Kalenga for as long as I have, entrepreneurship is close to
Our hearts, yeah.
to both our hearts.
Great.
We can go on and on for quite a while.
Very
It'll
much.
feel like I'm only speaking for myself because it is one thing which I learn every single day. There's so much that I haven't asked that I could easily ask. I showed you a text message that came in from Sally, where he texts me and he says, 2 of our people got robbed and 40,000 was taken.
And
Firstly, let me say it to you.
Yeah.
If you get a text from your supervisor saying our cashier got robbed and 40,000 was taken, what's the first thing you'd ask them?
What's the first thing that I would ask? Maybe because this time around I've reached a level where problems are no longer problems, even when I'm being told there's such a problem. Like, I'll give you an example. You're just telling me this. Was it a day before yesterday? We're constructing this hotel in the process of constructing. Right. We didn't know to say after wearing, some people were pulling out cables.
Wow.
And by the time they were stealing. And by the time we're discovering, day before yesterday, we had discovered we lost out, I think, for more than 70,000 kwacha. So and then
worth of wiring.
And then I get this news from somewhere. What should I do? So I can't cry. I can't get depressed.
Right. The reason why I ask you that is when I got that text.
Yeah.
Initially, he did not tell me how much money was taken. He said 2 of our people got robbed.
Yeah.
And the money was taken. First thing I asked is, how much money do we lose? Before I said, are these guys hurt? Are they safe or not? I said, how much money was taken?
Was taken.
When he then told me the amount, then was not much. Are they safe? So I don't know. It kind of makes me feel like I am a little more oriented to do with whether the business is working or not, more than putting people first. Kind of makes me feel bad.
Yeah.
But the fact that you've got 500 people, it's incredible how you're able to...
Those are daily problems every day. And just maybe to tell someone who wants to get into business, it's never easy as people think. There's a lot of work.
Sheesh.
And that's why I've said those who want to engage in businesses where you want to scale up to hundreds of people employed,
right.
You really need to take your time first of all. And the time period you are working, you take that time period, you start working on yourself. Emotionally, you need to be strong. Mentally, you need to be strong. Physically, you need to be fit. You talk about even so many things, networks and so on. It takes a bit of some time because 500 people every day. You don't expect the whole day. It's all quiet. You find something has happened. Vehicle has been involved in a road accident and so on. But I'm physically fit, mentally fit, emotionally strong, mentally, all these things and so on. So I'm never shaken by most of these problems. And because we have built systems now, I don't worry. I don't get worried. Even when we heard about the theft incident, I knew
the system will take care of that.
The system will take care of that. And all these things and so on. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
okay, cool.
It's none of my business.
Yeah. So to close off, just like we did with the last episode, I'm gonna ask you a few questions.
Yeah.
These will kind of help me know the kind of person you are.
Yeah.
Very smart, scientific questions.
Great.
There's no right or wrong answer to this.
Great.
You ready?
Ready?
Question number one, what is the best sandwich? Oh, good doctor. It's not a trick question. This is according to you and your preference. So don't feel like you have to give us what the world thinks.
The best sandwich, anyway. It's a burger, chicken burger. Is that in the category
that
of
counts.
sandwich? Yeah,
That counts.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that you own that you should really throw out, that you shouldn't have? You're not a hoarder, are you?
That I should really throw out.
You own it, but you know you got no business having this.
I think it's one of just have a farm somewhere in.
Rich people talk.
Yeah.
I said, what's one thing you need to throw out, and you say
farm.
a farm. I cannot relate. I thought you were going to say some old shoes or socks.
No. It's pressure, too much pressure. Every day we are getting these. People are encroaching on the land, all these things.
Do you have kids?
Kids, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Farm.
Yeah.
I didn't see this one coming.
Yeah.
What's the scariest animal?
Scariest animal. Snake.
A snake.
For me, scariest.
Yeah, it's a
The
snake.
one that,
Okay.
You and me both.
yeah.
Hey, I've jetted a few, hey?
Snake.
Yeah, I've jetted a few. Apples or oranges?
Huh?
Apples or oranges?
Apples.
I'm allergic to those.
Me, that's my favorite.
That's cool. That's I envy you. Apples and peaches, I'm allergic to those. I can't eat those fruits. Have you ever asked anybody for their photograph or photo?
Rare.
So nobody. Not even Muzikans.
I do.
Oh, yeah?
No, quite a number of people.
Who comes to mind? Just one person.
My
The
wife.
last person.
My wife.
You asked but it's just your wife.
Yes. Several times.
That doesn't count, doc.
It does. Yeah.
All right, cool. Look, you're a better person than I am.
Yeah.
Because my girlfriend forces me to have to take pictures with her. What do you think happens when we die?
When we die. New life, of course.
What do you mean?
Heaven.
For everyone?
Not for everyone.
Okay.
Only for those who believe.
So you don't believe in reincarnation?
No, I don't.
There's a story that I heard. I don't know if you heard about this. Of a kid, a 7-year-old kid who was obsessed with planes. When he took his first flight, I think at 8 years old,
Yeah.
he begged to go in the cockpit, and he literally knew every single button and what it does, how the plane moves, how to take off, how to land, how to speak to the air traffic control. And when asked by the pilots how he knew this, he gave the weirdest answer. He said, because I died in World War II and I used to fly. And he mentioned the plane that he used to fly. He mentioned the country that he was from. He mentioned his name. He mentioned this whole life, the wife that he had. He mentioned stuff that only a veteran pilot would know. And he mentioned that he was killed in World War II when he was shot down, and he mentioned the exact same plane that shot him down. And he knew this like that. I'll share the documentary with you.
Okay. That sounds like a movie then. Or is it a real?
No, it's absolutely real.
Okay.
It's absolutely real. I'll share the documentary with you.
Okay.
There's a kid from London, England.
Okay. I'm yet to learn more about that. Yeah.
Your favorite action movie?
I'm not into action movie.
Are you into movies?
No.
Music?
Music, yes.
Music?
Yes.
What kind?
Zambian, of course. Zambian music.
Favorite artist?
Your maps?
Please don't say. I was about to say, please don't say your maps. Okay.
Yeah.
Doc, this interview was going so well.
Yeah.
Favorite smell?
Favorite smell?
I've got a sneaking suspicion of what you're going to say, but I'll let you answer it first.
Have I paid attention to that?
No, I thought you were going to say your favorite smell would be your wife, because you've been speaking a lot about her.
Yeah, of course, but she wears different perfumes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Least favorite smell.
Least?
Favorite smell.
I least favorite smell.
Your least favorite smell.
My least favorite smell.
Yeah.
Was the one that he hates the most?
Yes,
the one that
you
I
hate
don't
the
like.
most.
The one that I hate the most. Oh.
Haven't thought about that either?
I'm trying to figure out. Of course. Fishes?
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what mine is?
Yeah.
Petrol. Because every time I smell that, I'm losing money. Anytime I smell petrol, I know money is going out of my pocket. When it comes to water, flat or sparkling?
Yes. Come again?
Water, there's two different types.
Yeah.
Flat or sparkling?
Sparkling.
I like sparkling water too.
Yeah.
The most used app on your phone?
Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Interesting. I thought it would be like email or the the rate exchange calculator,
Stock market app.
stock market. Facebook. Okay. If you got to listen to one song for the rest of your life, what is it?
I'll say the one I like most. It's by Yada.
What song is
It's
that?
a gospel song.
Okay.
Yeah. It talks about the Lord looking beyond me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wanted to decipher that. And if you
Yeah.
could describe the rest of your life in 5 words, what would those words be?
It has been a life of ups and downs, but later years more of
Ups.
ups.
Right.
Yeah.
How does being married help in becoming a successful entrepreneur? Is there any correlation there or not really?
So long you have the right partner. If you have the right partner, it does a lot of work because we go through a lot of issues. We go through a lot of problems every day, talking about problems and all this. And sometimes you need a confidant.
Right.
And the best is your wife. So every day, if I thought there's any person that I share so many things with, it's my wife. Even when anything happens now, I call her because I need to breathe.
Right.
I don't trust many people around me, but at least with her, I can share a number of things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm done on my end. Good, sir.
Doctor,
This was
coming through.
incredible.
Pleasure.
I think everyone watching and us here have learned one or two things about business from you, and we'll have the discussion offset about you sponsoring this episode.
No
Because
problem.
we need to pay
no
this
problem.
guy.
No problem.
The first time I actually heard about you was from this man. He called me and
Last
said-
week, I said we need to have the doctor on the podcast.
Thank you.
You spoke of networks.
Yeah.
Yeah, now in
I know a few people,
Yeah.
so I made a few calls
Yeah.
and I got your phone number,
Oh, great.
and then I gave you a call.
Okay.
here we are.
He's very polite over the phone. Hey,
Seriously?
who am I speaking with, please? Very polite over the
Those
phone.
of us are in business. And by the way, I found a missed call because with me, all missed calls I normally call back. I try to call and all this. I don't allow missed calls, and then I don't call back. And
Can we end this episode
I called back. Yeah.
by saying it was brought to you by Great North Road Academy group of companies?
Depends on what to agree.
Because we need to pay this guy.
If it's just one person, then no problem. We can end.
We can. All right.
what did I want to say? So, what did you think about? Is it Mary, the girl that's been texting me, your PA? What's her name?
Kim.
Is it Kim?
Yes,
No,
Kim.
Like Kardashian.
That's Kim?
Kim.
Oh, yeah, Kim.
Yes.
I called her Kardashian when she
Kim.
came through.
Where's she? Where's she?
She's seated
She's
there.
there.
Kim?
We did not get into the personal
we-
stuff.
So, what did you think about this discussion?
But
What did you think about this?
Wasn't too
it
personal,
was
was it?
it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
It's one of those best interviews that I've attended.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Kim, are you happy?
Are you happy?
Kim.
You're not going to call us to edit anything out? Because we're not going to edit anything out either way. We don't do that. Very bad practice for podcast. We love you too, Kim.
This has been fantastic. There's a lot that
And I'm sure with Kim, you've learned something, and the team that I work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so
Very protective of you.
Yeah.
So regardless of whichever part of your company that you run, she helps you across the board.
Yeah, it's a team. It's not only her, but
You got a team of
Jeff, your
PAs?
brother. Yeah, no team of PAs, but camera people. And
But you
other
got like a
people.
media crew as well.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a team that works around me.
Speaking of,
We need to go.
relax. One of the person who moves around with the media team is the guy that owns UBA Bank. What's his name? Tony
Lumelu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which quickly then brought me to the news that I heard this past week that one of the founders of Access Bank died.
Serious? You hear about that?
Yeah, I saw
In a
I saw
helicopter?
it somewhere. Yeah, I saw it somewhere.
Yeah, in America. He was the group CEO. He was in California with his wife and his child.
Sad, man.
Thing crashed and the guy died. Really young guy.
Yeah.
I don't know why black people just stay away from helicopters, man. How many of us have to die before we
But
realize?
you don't know when your fate is coming your way. You may not know. So it just happens.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Doc, thanks a lot for coming through. Really
has been a
appreciate the
pleasure.
lessons that we've learned from you today. And we hope our people watching this are also learning one or two things. And I think entrepreneurship is a way to save this country. So I'm glad you taught and we've learned something from you.
Thank you so much. It
Thanks
has
a lot
been a
for coming
pleasure.
through.
Yeah.
I'll click on that subscribe button to the next one. Have a lovely day.
Yeah, and did you mention the promo code for?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool.
TZP 30.
Just use Unka. If you're gonna go drinking, don't drive. Don't be a
Yeah.
Dumbass.
Don't
Don't be a dumbass. Don't drive.
use that word.
just use a taxi hailing.
Dun 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 dun